Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And once again, this is the one-day chart. We're sitting here at $2.25. It was another red day for XRP. And of course, people are pissed off right now because they're like, the ETF is live. Why is XRP not at least above $3? Honestly, XRP is still holding up very well right now. People even think we should be below $2 right now if it wasn't for the ETF. But that's just speculation, and they're basing it on Bitcoin sitting at 95K. In all actuality, what is going on is Bitcoin is dropping in price, pulling the rest of the market down with it. I think that will change for XRP, though. It's still holding up really well. I want to see where it goes from here. I know a breakout is absolutely coming. XRP ETF launch day 2 live updates. XRPC expected to top day 1's $59 million with $63.9 million projection. So at the time I'm making this video, this is what we know right now. XRPC ETF explodes on day 2. The first hour of day 2 has delivered a huge surprise for Canary's XRPC ETF, with 400,762 shares traded right out of the gate. Based on the early pace, the full day projection hits 2,604,953 shares and $63.9 million in volume, putting it on track to outperform its already strong debut day. So I'll keep you up to date on that as well, but it looks like things are still gaining momentum for this Canary XRP ETF. And we know that the ETF that Canary is going to buy is going to come from over-the-counter sales. But eventually, those over-the-counter sales, they're going to impact the price of XRP. They're taking XRP out of circulation. I point that out because people think that all this is coming off the exchanges, and it isn't. Could an ETF prevent XRP from reaching $2? Like I said at the beginning of this video, people think it's the ETF keeping XRP above $2 right now. And that could very well be what's happening. There's a lot of volume on that ETF already, and I expect that volume to continue. Plus, we have other ETFs going live next week, and that's going to bring even more momentum for this cryptocurrency. Look at them now. Before launch, they were laughing, mocking, saying XRP could never do it. But reality just smashed their expectations into dust. Take a listen.
Gate swinging though, right? Got an XRP launch of an XRP ETF, which was the best of 25. I think it outpaced the BSOL by about $1 million, but that was obviously a success, even in a down market. But more importantly, the regulators and
they can't believe it outperformed the Solana ETF. You know, everybody doubts this cryptocurrency, but XRP proves them wrong time and time again. New XRP ETF might launch sooner than expected. Now, I've seen a lot of talk of this, and you know, it really doesn't matter because the Bitwise XRP ETF is expected to go live on November 19th. If it goes live sooner, so be it. But as of right now, it's still November 19th. And then we also have Franklin Templeton. I'll talk more about that in this video as well. But these ETFs, it's going to be one after another. And after seeing what XRP did on day 1, BlackRock is going to eventually do an XRP ETF. Why would they ever want to miss out on this? Why would they not want to capitalize on this? It's funny how CoinDesk can report fairly, showing how XRP just surpassed Solana's ETF and became the #1 ETF of 2025. But CNBC still pretends it didn't happen. Take a listen.
Canary Capital's XRPC, the first U.S. spot ETF tied to the XRP token, had an impressive debut yesterday with $58 million in trading volume, the highest for any ETF launched this year across more than 900 fund launches. That's according to Bloomberg's ETF analyst Eric Balchunas. Volume narrowly edged out Bitwise's Solana ETF, which logged $57 million on its first day. The strong start indicates growing institutional interest in diversifying beyond Bitcoin and
Like I said, the institutions are looking beyond Bitcoin and ETH. But nobody on the mainstream media wants to talk about XRP. They pretend it doesn't even exist because XRP is a threat to the Bitcoin narrative that they push all day long. Canary Capital will shift its focus to grow XRPC instead of adding more assets until the climate at the SEC has been fully resolved. So it looks like we're not going to see any more ETFs coming from Canary Capital. They're just going to focus on this XRP ETF for now. But you know, once you see inflows like that, you look at it and you think to yourself, wow, I can't believe how well this is doing. Why should they even look past XRP at all after day one? New XRP ETF surges as Bitcoin and ETH funds see $1 billion exodus. Like I said, the money is shifting away from Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that shift is going to continue to happen. You know, Bitcoin always gets first mover advantage, and that's why it does so well. That's why the Bitcoin maxis are like, nothing will ever dethrone their precious Bitcoin. But all it did was get first mover advantage. Now there's new shinier products out there, and that's what the institutions want to get into. They don't want to keep buying something and just holding it either. They want to buy something that actually does something. You know, the narrative has always been that Bitcoin's going to get fully adopted around the world and everybody's going to be settling transactions in Bitcoin. But we all know that's fantasy. It's never going to happen. It's too slow, too expensive. Now you got XRP, fast, cheap, and secure. The institutions know what XRP is capable of doing. So why would they continue dumping money into Bitcoin when they could dump money into something that has real world value? XRP record inflows the same day Bitcoin ETFs have record outflows, and Nate Garossi also confirmed this. Spot Bitcoin ETFs with second biggest outflow ever yesterday, $870 million. Category still with 24 plus billion inflows on the year. But those inflows, they were great because there was nothing else out there. It was like, okay, where do we put our money? We want to get into crypto. Oh, well, we got this Bitcoin ETF, and that's all we have to offer. So, of course, the money's going to pour into that. But now that there's something else, the money's going to push away from that. And I think we're going to see great performance for XRP, not just now, but I'm talking about throughout the rest of this year, going into next year. You're still going to see that institutional money flowing into these XRP ETFs. The demand is already there. Franklin Templeton's $1.6 trillion ETF is next in line. If Canary did $58 million, imagine what a $1 trillion giant triggers on day one. And that's expected to go live next week. And again, I've seen a lot of people saying, if it's going to be that big, could you imagine the dump we're going to see on the price of XRP? Eventually, we are going to decouple from Bitcoin. It's just a matter of time. Right now, if you look at the chart for Bitcoin and the chart for XRP, it's identical. But you could do that with any cryptocurrency. You could do it with Ethereum. You could do it with Solana. They're all following Bitcoin still. Eventually, though, that will no longer be the case. Could you imagine where the price of XRP would be right now if we weren't following Bitcoin? I'm sure we would be well above $4 already, most likely above $6 by now. We're still waiting for XRP to recover from the Rippleverse SEC lawsuit. Remember, Brad Garlinghouse explained that XRP ETFs represent the transition from speculative retail trading to institutional adoption. Take a listen.
There's been an influx of XRP ETF filings, both in and out of the US. How do you view all of this? How do you view these filings?
Well, I think part of the transition from maybe more speculative retail into more institutional adoption and participation is the ETF step. Certainly, the Bitcoin ETF getting approved, the SEC was dragged kicking and screaming a little bit towards that outcome. But getting the Bitcoin ETF, I think, was a monumental event in terms of expanding the ability for others to participate, particularly institutional investors. So to me, I think I said then publicly that people would ask me, is there going to be an XRP ETF? And I just look, it's inevitable that there will be an XRP ETF. And now I think I actually don't even know. I think there's 4 or 5 different filings here in the US. I know of at least one in Europe. And, I think it's great. I think it's, again, not surprising. I certainly hope that we'll see some of those approved soon. And we'll see them trading so others can participate in the ecosystem that otherwise might not be able to because they don't want to custody crypto themselves or other reasons that may exist. But I'm excited for sure.
Institutions like the ETFs because they don't have to do anything. They don't have to have a hardware wallet, things like that. But I would rather hold the actual asset, but that's just me. But Brad's right. What Bitcoin ETFs did was they opened this space up for all these other ETFs and that institutional inflow of money. But I think what happened was they didn't expect the XRP ETF demand. I see Bitcoin maxis, they're so pissed off about these XRP ETFs. It's because they wanted all to be Bitcoin only. Because whenever Bitcoin faces competition like XRP, right away it doesn't perform as well as they expect it. They never see a threat until it's right in their face. And that's what XRP is right now. But like I said at the beginning of this video, there is a good chance that that ETF is keeping XRP well above $2 right now. I mean, Bitcoin, it's sitting down at 95K. If this was before the ETF, there's a chance that XRP right now would be around $1.96, maybe $1.97. But all I know is this. Eventually, these ETFs they're going to continue to take XRP out of circulation. Eventually, over-the-counter is going to run out of XRP as well. Then they're going to turn to the exchanges for XRP. And when people are selling on red days like today, these ETFs are going to be swallowing up that XRP. The scarcity is coming. The demand is continuing to rise. You couple that together, and we're looking at a very expensive XRP. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.